Hello, dear students. Welcome in this session of English Yog Bharati Standard 12th. Welcome in this session on saying please lesson on saying please part 2nd. Here we have the revision on the taught part. Revision. Author A.J. Gardner narrated an incident where a liftman denied to hear the instruction to take the passenger to the top floor. Liftman demanded for a polite request to say top please instead of saying top. The passenger was not agree to the liftman's demand and there was no compromise on it. As a result, the passenger was thrown out of the lift by the liftman. Discussing on various aspects, author advocates that emotional damage or an injury on our self-respect, on our vanity is more painful than any physical injury or attack. With the help of various examples, author A.G. Gardner explained it very well that bad temper or bad manners infect the world very quickly. So here the author talks about the necessity of being sensitive towards others' feelings while we live in the society because no law or religious code of conduct can control or become guardian of our private manners. So this is the revision of our taught part. Now we are moving to the next paragraph. But though we are bound to endorse the verdict against the liftman, our law is there that tells us to support our, we are bound to the law that tells us to be with the verdict, that is the liftman was fined. So but though we are bound to endorse the verdict against the liftman, most people have a certain sympathy with him. So the author observes that though there was a law and we are bound to law, we have to be with the verdict, but still we feel sympathy for the liftman. While it is true that there is no law that compels us to say please, there is a social practice much older and much more sacred than any law which explains us to be civil. We needs to be civil, we needs to be very polite, we have to follow certain courtesies while we live in the society. It is much older and much sacred than any law. And the first requirement of civility is that we should acknowledge a service. It is very reasonable to while we are living in the society, we should behave politely, and this is what very older practice or sacred practice in our society. And when we are asking for a service, we should appreciate or we should be grateful towards that service. Please and thank you are the small change with which we pay our ways as social beings. They are the little courtesies by which we keep the machine of life oiled and running sweetly. It is said that they are the little courtesies are there which oiled our life, and they help us to run our life sweetly or without any what we can say disturbance, because the words helps us in our daily routine. They put our intercourse, that is communication or conversation with the other person, upon the basis of a friendly cooperation. When the person uses the words please and thank you, then a kind of a friendly atmosphere was created over there, and that is why the intercourse was easy and what we can say without any disturbance was there. An easy give and take was there instead of on the basis of superiors dictating to inferiors. So it is not good if we found that a person who is senior, he is giving orders and commands and he controls the actions of the juniors, but this is not the thing. While we are asking for a service, that we should not behave like a superior, and we should not treat the other person just like a inferior. It is very vulgar mind that would wish to command where he can, have the service for asking, and have it with willingness and good feeling instead of resentment. Resentment means anger. So if the person who is giving you or who is providing you a kind of a service, if he is angry with you, he's full of resentment with you, the service he will go provide to you will not be a in a friendly manner. So it is not good for you also. So where if you use the word just like a thank you and please, then the atmosphere will be good one, and the feeling which is there in the person's mind is a good feeling instead of anger for you. Exercise. Explain the importance of little courtesies in communication skill which work as an asset for a person. We are talking about little courtesies. Little courtesies means those words which we should frequently use while we speak with others. Words just like thank you, please, sorry, pardon, all those words we for which we have discussed earlier, all those words, all those common courtesies we use. And the little courtesies are specifically thank you and please. If the person is habitual of using these words, then we can understand that the person is well mannered, the person is well behaved, and we also come to know that he has that kind of a soft skill. With the help of those words, he can lead the team, he can solve the problems, he could have a good kind of a discussion with other person, and that is why we can say that this is an asset of a person. Next paragraph. I should like to feature in this connection, my friend, the polite conductor. Feature here, it means to mark the peculiarity or characteristics. Here the writer wants to say something about his friend who is a conductor, and why he was interested to talk about him, because the person is a polite person. By this discriminating title, I do not intend to suggest a rebuke to conductors generally. He wants to make it clear that he wants to do no criticism on all the conductors or the class of conductors, because they are not known for their good kind of a good manners and good kind of a communication skill, and that is why he do not want to invoke any harsh criticism on them. On the contrary, I am disposed to think about. Actually, he wants to say something, he wants to regulate, he wants to classify something about the conductor to whom he called his friend. I am disposed to think that there was a few classes of men who come through the ordeal of a very trying calling better than bus conductors do. If we go in detail, then there are various people who do not use any kind of a courtesies, they do not have a good kind of a communication skill. So here we are not going to discuss about the conductor specifically. He only want to say something about a person who is a conductor and who is a polite one. Here and there you will meet an unpleasant specimen who regards the passenger as his natural enemies, as creatures whose chief purpose on the bus is to cheat him, and who can only be kept reasonably honest by a loud voice and aggressive manners. So all those conductors in a bus, we found that they are aggressive, they are speaking in a loud voice. And why all these people are doing all these things? Because they think that the passengers entering the bus, they are their natural enemies, the passengers are their natural enemies, and they enter the bus in order to cheat the conductor. Actually, this is not the condition, but the way the conductors speak with the person who is entering the bus is just like that. That we found that the conductor is using a loud voice while speaking with him, and he is using an aggressive manner with him. So everywhere we found this kind of bus conductors, but this type is rare, rarer than it is used to be. But the polite conductor in our lesson, he is very different from all those conductors. I fancy the public owes much to the Underground Railway Company, which also runs the buses, for insisting on a certain standard of civility in its servants and taking care that standard is observed. In doing this, it not only makes things pleasant for the traveling public but performs an important social service. A.G. Gardner told us or narrated and one more in thing that Underground Railway Company was there, and which was using a kind of a standard and kind of a civility while it was providing service to people. And that is why people are owing to it. People are feeling that they are just like in a debt for that company, because the service provided by them is a very good kind of a service, and that is why they like the standard, the quality and the modesty provided by the Underground Railway Company. Here we have an exercise once again. See, find out the words in column B which collocate with the words in column A. So here we are studying collocations. We have to match the collocations. In column A, we have few words which always go with or generally goes with words in column B. So the first word, regular. So regular exercise. The word is regular exercise. The collocation can be regular exercise. Midday meal. We have midday meal. Then we are talking about key concept. What is that? Key concept. Then the next word is fast food. Nowadays people prefer fast food. Next word is try hard. This is also one of the famous collocations. Next is richly decorated. The hall is richly decorated. Call me when you have a free time. You can also easily come to this collocation, that is call me when you have a free time. Then the next is traffic jam. And next one is social animal. Man is a social animal. And the last one is wild justice. This is a kind of a wild justice. So all these collocations are there, and they are frequently used while we speak with another person. The next activity is that learning collocation is essential for making your English sound fluent and natural. Make collocations and use in your own sentences. So here are few collocations beginning with the words big and well, and you have to use them in your sentences. Here two words are given here, that is big. The first collocation with big is big mistake. The next one is big surprise. Then we also use collocation just like big deal, then big money, big decision, big improvement, big dreamer, big brother, big difference, big step, and big change also. So there are so many collocations beginning with big. The next is well. One example is provided over here. Well dressed. It has you to make your English sound fluent and natural. So well dressed, well furnished, well designed, well played, well balanced, well informed, well mannered, well behaved, and well off also. Well off means rich. The person who is well off means the person is rich. So here are few collocations we generally use while we speak with another person, and it will help you to make your English sound fluent and natural. Then we are moving to the next slide. It is the next paragraph. It is not therefore with any feeling of unfriendliness to conductors as a class that I pay a tribute to a particular member of that class. So there is no unfriendliness or no feeling of an unfriendliness towards other conductors, but he wants to specifically talk about only one conductor who is a polite one. I first became conscious of his existence one day when I jumped onto a bus and found that I had left home without any money in my pocket. One day, the author A.G. Gardner, he entered the bus without any money in his pocket. Everyone has had the experience and knows the feeling. What kind of a feeling we have when we found that we have no money while we are in the bus. The mixed feelings which the discovery arouses, you are annoyed because you look like a fool at the best and a knave at the worst. You seems to be a dishonest person. You would not be all surprised if the conductor eyed you coldly as much as to say, "Yes, I know that stale old trick. Now then, off you get." A.G. Gardner, he imagine that now when he will told the conductor that he has no money, then the conductor, what will he say? That I know the stale old trick. What type of reasons people are giving every time when when they are asked to board the fare? At that time, what kind of reasons they provide? And the author imagined that the conductor will say that I know the stale old trick. Now then, off you get. So he will tell him to off the bus, or he come out of the bus. And even if the conductor is a good fellow and lets you down easily, you are faced with the necessity of going back. So we have to continue the journey. We have to once again take money, and we have to go back once again. And the inconvenience we have at that time, that we have to left the verse which we have already entered, and once again after taking money we have to go for another bus, and the inconvenience due to that, perhaps of missing your train or your engagement. If you want to enter, or if you have scheduled another train after traveling in this bus, then there may be a chance of missing that train, and there may be a chance to miss your engagement with other people. So there are various types of inconveniences if you have to get out of that bus which you have already entered. According to the conductor, what are these stale old tricks? The question we have over here is, according to the conductor, what are the stale old tricks? Here we are talking about all those reasons or all those excuses given by the people when they found that they have no money to buy the ticket. So, or to pay the fare which is there for a bus. So, what are the stale old tricks? What will they say? That they lost their what we can say, they lost their purse, they lost their money, someone has stolen their money, or they will give various types of excuses which are there. So all those excuses tell old tricks, that they found their purse, wallet missing, someone has stolen them, or they will request the conductor to please help them because they have no money, they have a kind of urgency. And that is why all those tell tricks are there which people use generally while they do not buy the tickets. Having searched my pockets in vain for stray coppers, and having found I was utterly penniless. For a while, the author searched for money in his pockets, but he found that he was utterly, completely, totally moneyless or penniless. I told the conductor with as honest a face as I could assume that I couldn't pay the fare. The author told the conductor his inability to pay the fare and must go back for money. Oh, you needn't get off, that's all right, said he. To the surprise of the author, what was the conductor's reply? He said, you needn't get off, that's all right, said he. All right, said I, but I haven't a copper on me. He didn't have any coin or coins of low value with him. Oh, I will book you through. Though he has no money, still the conductor allowed him to sit in the bus. He replied, where do I want to go? Where I want to go? The question is asked by the conductor. It means that where do you want to go? Do I want to go means do you want to go? The conductor asked him, where do you want to go? And he handled his bundle of tickets with the air of a man who was prepared to give me a ticket for anywhere from the bank to the Hong Kong. So this is what we can say, exaggeration of the author, that the conductor was ready to give him a ticket from anywhere from the bank to Hong Kong. So this is not possible, but actually this is the exaggeration of the author, that the conductor was ready to allow him to sit in the bus and to travel in the bus from anywhere, from any point from the world, from any point of the world to the any point. I said it was a very kind of him and told him where I wanted to go. And as he gave me the ticket, I said, but where shall I send the fare? The author inquired about the repayment of or payment of the fare. Oh, you will see me some day, all right. And what was the conductor's reply? That when will we meet next time? You can pay me at that time, he said cheerfully in a happy tone. So he do not have that kind of a aggressive manner. He do not use loud voice while he was talking with the author. He turned to go, and then luckily my fingers, still wandering in the corner of my pockets, lighted on a shilling, and the account was squared. Suddenly the author, A.G. Gardner, he found a shilling in his pocket, and the amount was settled. So there was no, he was thinking that he was penniless and he was utterly moneyless, but actually he has a shilling in his pocket, and that was why it could be possible to settle the amount. But the fact did not lessen the glow of pleasure which so good natured an action had given me, but the feeling, the good kind of a feeling and experience he had due to that polite conductor is a very unique one. And though he found a shilling in his pocket, the glow, the happiness he has due to the good natured action of that polite conductor did not lessen or do not decrease the unhappiness of that good action of a polite conductor. Here we have a group for we have few words. Now see, it is given over here, form groups and explain the following words with examples. You can take help of your teacher. So here are the words, and I am explaining you the meaning of these words. The first word is humility. So what do you mean by a humility? Humility means being humble in character and behavior. The person who is full of modesty, the person who is egoless, or the person who has egolessness. So humility, and this is a kind of a quality a person should possess. So humility is also one of the, what we can say, virtues in one's life. So being humble in character and behavior. So you can write examples, or you can find out examples of your own. The next word is self-esteem. Self-esteem means what? Valuing oneself, or having full of self respect, the person who is full of pride, so self esteem. So it is also a good kind of a virtue that a person is full of self esteem, he is full of self respect, so he has a good kind of a opinion about himself. Gratitude is the word, it means state of being grateful. The person who is full of gratitude, he appreciates the other person, he has kind of that appreciation, he has that kind of a thankfulness for the another person. The next word is courtesy. Courtesy is the word. Courtesy means what? Courtesy means polite behavior or gesture or reasonable behavior of a person. Polite. Courtesy means what? Polite behavior or gesture of a person. Next word is generosity. Generosity means being generous, being noble, being having full of nobility of stock. The person who is benevolent. So this is what a kind of a being generous means, generosity. Sympathy. Sympathy means what? Sympathy means the feeling of pity or sorrow for the suffering or distress of another person. The person who is full of compassion, we can say the person has a sympathy for someone. So feeling pity or sorrow for the another person. The next word is empathy. Empathy is a little bit different from sympathy. Empathy means identification with or understanding of thought, feelings, and emotional state of another person. So to be one with, to become one with other person's thoughts, feelings, and emotional state of that person. So more than sympathy, empathy is more closer to that person or more deeper, we can say. Here is the time for homework. We have a homework from textbook page number 23. You have 4 questions. The first one is distinguish between a legal offense and a moral offense on the basis of the given text. You have to distinguish between them. Then find out the meanings of the following phrases. Use them in your own sentences. This is also one of the questions. Next is find out the words with prefixes and suffixes from the text and write them down. So words having prefixes and suffixes. For example, uncivil. Un is the prefix and requirement meant is the suffix. So you have to find out such types of words from the text and you have to write them down. The next question is complete the table with polite expression that we must use in our day-to-day life. So few sentences are given and you have to use polite expressions in order to convey them to the other person. One example is given over here is what you shouldn't do is that I want a cup of tea. So how we are going to ask it? I would like to have a cup of a tea. So this is your polite request. I would like to have a cup of a tea. So in this way you are going to convert them, you are going to transfer them into a polite request. So there are 5 sentences given over here and you have to convey them into a polite expression. So thank you student, we will meet in the third part of our lesson soon. So do your homework and maintain your notebook. Thank you.